Yes, yes, well, what do we know? Well, we know quite a lot, and it's quite different, the way it was composed and the people for whom it was composed, and to what we now expect, a big grand piano in the Wigmore Hall with white tie and tails and a famous singer. For instance, Die Schöne Müllerin, which is the other cycle that we're not doing, was done in all sorts of different ways. Friends would gather in the evening to entertain themselves, and they would act out bits of Die Schöne Müllerin. And there were theatre plays of the Fair Maid of the Mill going on, and it was all the rage. So they would dress themselves up in costume, they would bring the instruments if they had it, and they wouldn't do the whole cycle because they've got to have some food and another poem and a different thing. But they would have, do that bit where he meets her for the first time, and they act it out, and it's just a charades. It's a fun, it's creative, spontaneous thing. And Schubert, of course, loved that with his circle of friends. He loved that. He wrote for them. The way we're doing this, or thinking about doing it, with the puppet and with a bit of animation and things, it's to try and find that again. It's not important that it's with a puppet. It's not important that it's got animation. It's the same idea. It's that we're just trying to suggest that let's do something that isn't just standing there. It helps both the audience, I think, and the singer and the pianist to access a little bit that atmosphere of when it was written. In other words, it's about a character, it's about the text, it's about the words and the music and how they evoke things in people's imaginations. That's what those evenings were about, and that's what helped them escape and help them. And now we may have lost that a bit. It should be available to people. It should be storytelling. It should be magical. Somehow the puppet helps with that, and what it particularly helps with, I think, is focusing on a character. And being a puppet means that it's not real. As we were talking about earlier, no one thinks for a second it's real, but if it's manipulated in a certain way and starts to think and breathe, and then without changing its expression, it can seem alive. And once that moment happens, I think, for the audience, when they think an eyebrow's moved, as happened with me sometimes, or you really invest in this. You invest. It's you project onto this thing, and you start to think it's alive, which is sort of the essence of all theatre. Then the music can really enter you almost without touching the sides. You've just got you're open, and then you can have a very real experience. I think that's when it's worked in the past, as I think it has sometimes, not always. And of course, it depends on a willing audience, because people can very well shut their eyes, as they are in any situation.
Yeah.
But it's just an invitation in a way to think about a character who is genuinely experiencing these things and in a position where they want to communicate.